Ladies and gentlemen, there has never been a better time in history than right now in 2024 for retards. Retards are thriving, retards are running rampant, they're getting interviews, they're getting bitches. Retards are simply just winning. And look no further than the biggest retard of them all, Sketch. Sketch right now is the biggest streamer on the planet. I mean, this guy has become a pop culture icon. He's on everybody's podcast. He did a podcast with Theo Vaughn, with Bradley Martin. You know, Bradley Martin was sucking the guy off the entire time. Dude, you're just like me, bro. What the fuck? And every single interview, people ask him the exact same question. So, hey, Sketch, what the fuck is your deal? Like, what is it with you? What kind of condition do you have? I don't have any condition, brother. That's just the way that I am. I get some nervous tics and I do these hand gestures. That's it. And that response gets greeted with celebrations and claps and laughs. Everybody's laughing at Sketch. That makes me very angry and very upset. I mean, what happened to us as a society? Back in my day, when the students in my school caught wind that there's a retard in the basement, everybody talked about it. Yo, did you hear? There's a retard downstairs. Yeah, man, I heard about it. He's chained up because he bites and he spits and he flings shit at people. He's retarded. But then when we saw him outside in recess, we'd encircle the guy. Encircle the retard. We'd hold hands and start making loud monkey noises. They start clapping very loud. And these people, like Sketch, they're not like us. They're very different than us. And so like their brain is very sensitive and they start, when you're playing a game in your PC and you got a cheap Walmart PC and you put it on max settings and the fans are just like, that's what happens to people's brains like Sketch. And I know that sounds mean. Why would you do that to a guy who's retarded? Come on, that's mean. But it's like even as kids, we knew back then not to let these retards run rampant. Because there's going to be consequences. People don't see it now. But giving Sketch all this power and all this clout right now is going to have severe consequences for the next generation. When people ask me all the time, why are you the way that you are? Why do you act that way? Why are you so self-centered? Why do you only care about yourself? Why you don't give a shit what anybody has to say? And it's simply because I grew up admiring Stone Cold Steve Austin. When I was in the 5th grade, I wasn't doing hand gestures like Sketch. I was kicking bitches in the pussy and giving them the Stone Cold. Ambulance came. I thought I was going to jail. And I did it all because my hero, Stone Cold Steve Austin, told me to. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a multiple-time World Wrestling Federation champion. He's over 6 foot tall, he's got muscles, and he drinks beer. He's a white supremacist, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, I don't know if you ever noticed, that he walks around like he's got the biggest, fattest, longest pink cock on the planet. Now, you compare that to Sketch, the people that kids nowadays are looking up to. Well, Sketch is just a retard. Simply just a retard. And yes, he's charismatic and he's funny. I love Sketch as well. We all love Sketch. We all love Sketch, but we can't allow a retard to be the most influential person on the planet. You people who are all praising Sketch and you love Sketch and you're watching all his streams and making him more and more famous are cruel. You people are evil. You're giving this guy who's retarded all this power, all this attention to a guy that doesn't know the consequences that are going to come behind all this stuff. I won't be surprised if a couple months from now, something very shocking comes out about Sketch. Yeah, because you look at Sketch, he's a funny guy and he's just a retard. That's what you think. But you think what? As soon as Sketch turns off his stream, he goes right to sleep? Gotta go to sleep, gotta wake up early tomorrow, brother. A lot of big plans for tomorrow. No. I look at Sketch and I'm a guy who's very good at reading people. I see darkness. I see darkness in that dark little retard soul. And I have reason to believe that Sketch, when he logs off, when he signs off his little stream, he goes through the darkest corners of the internet, watching horrifying videos that are banned by our society. And I also have reason to believe that Sketch is subscribed to GhettoGaggers.com. He pays a monthly premium to watch Ghetto Gaggers. But even with all of that, everybody still loves Sketch. I mean, look at Steve Will Do It. Steve Will Do It, by the way, is also a retard that was given attention. Look at the consequences of that. Steve Will Do It gave Sketch a supercar, a Lamborghini Huracan, to a guy who's retarded and also blind. So a retard gave another retard who is blind a super fast sports car to go 190 miles an hour down the highway and kill multiple families. What happens when Sketch kills somebody? What happens when little old Sketch slams that Lamborghini Huracan into the back of a Subaru Outback that's driving a family of 4, and they're going to a picnic, but they couldn't make it because Sketch, who's retarded and blind, killed them going 200 miles an hour down the highway? What happens? I'll tell you exactly what happened. Sketch is going to say, you shouldn't have given me any power. I'm retarded. You guys are the ones for giving a retard all this attention. It's not my fault. Bradley Martin, who grew up without a father, is going to start talking shit about him on his podcast. Yeah, man, that guy Sketch, man, I had a bad feeling about him, bro. I'm telling you right now, like, I always had a bad feeling about him, and I just didn't fuck with him. And Steve will do it. You know, he'd be depressed. He stopped streaming. And he'll be suicidal because, like, this is his fault. All these families were killed on the highway because he gave a retard who's blind a car. And then Sketch is going to come out of prison after serving 5 years for vehicular manslaughter. And he's going to be fat and drug addicted on the streets. No money left. Nobody likes Sketch anymore. Get away, Sketch. And people are going to start recording him. Hey, Sketch, man, why the fuck did you kill that family, bro? You're fucked up. I don't care, brother. I didn't ask for all this shit. It was all your fault. Now, you know, people might be listening to this and they might be saying, bro, what are you talking about? Sketch is cool. You guys haven't been around retards. I was sent to retard school for an entire year. I did, you know, all the stuff that people like Sketch do. I play with Play-Doh. I play with slime. I did physical therapy. We played with bubbles for hours upon hours a day. And my school was specifically made just for retards. So I know how these people behave. I know how these people think. And I know how these people act. And I know what happens when you put them on a pedestal and you give them too much attention. Very bad things happen. You know, you might be in your desk playing with bubbles. And some random kid might come from behind and say, smell my ass! And put his shitty finger on your nose. That happened to me. You know, growing up for a long time, everybody in my family, all my family friends, all the community leaders, they all thought I was a retard. Everybody was convinced, 100% convinced, that kid is retarded. Even the teachers, when I went to the school, they all thought I was just a typical retard. You know, like halfway through the year, they started seeing, I don't know, maybe this kid, maybe the retardation left his body or something, because he's acting a little bit normal now. Maybe he doesn't belong in the school. And then I got shipped back to my other school. But for a long time there, everybody was convinced. My mom, still to this day, my mom tells me, you know, when you were little, we all thought you were retarded. We all thought you were special. Thank God something happened. It might have been a miracle of God, but you might have been cured from retardation. Look, the bottom line is, just imagine Superman or Spider-Man or any superhero that you admire is retarded. The entire world would be in trouble. We as a human race would cease to exist. I know retards, and I know what power in the hands of a retard does. And this guy Sketch, I don't like him. Okay? I don't like him one bit, and I don't trust him. He's trying to get all the power now, and you're going to hear horrible things coming from this guy in the next couple months. Mark my words.